आ रहा है थोड़ा, लेकिन अभी तक चालू नहीं हो वो लोग का।
ये डाउनलोड करते हैं लोग इसका
जूम का ना, फिर
और रैपिडो करके तो कोई घर पे जाने का रहेगा बाइक वाला लेके जाएंगे।
ओके,
वो आता है ना,
कितना लेता है?
वो तो तेरा कितना डिस्टेंस है मेरा देख, यहाँ से मदद से 75 बाइक पे। मेरा दिन का वो 60 रुपये तो होता ही है।
ओके,
रिटर्न है तो वन टाइम।
लेकिन कभी लेके नहीं आए।
सही है ये,
हाँ, कभी लेके नहीं आए तो सही है ना, फिर वो
सही है। मैं जा रहा हूँ ना यहाँ से, मैंने ये कर दिया, इसको एक मजा की मदद ले सकता हूँ।
So Parvalji, should we start? Virender ji,
मेन रोड पे था,
Ashok ji is there?
सिग्नल पे।
Yeah, I think we should start.
दूसरे का वो रेकॉर्ड कर लेना चाहिए। हाँ, पता है। तो
Rishad, can you mute all the other people once?
इसे कभी देखना नहीं है। तो बाजू वाला भाई की होता है कि रैपिडो है, मेरे पीछे वो करता हूँ, तो बोल रहा है इजी है।
नहीं, मैं उधर सांतेगुरु स्टेशन पे भी देखा था, कुछ लोग उससे उतर जाते थे।
I request everyone to switch off their mics.
ये ऑटो वाले से वो बेटर है ना, ऑटो वाला
मिलन
कैसे
जी,
लेके आएगा
please
जब
switch
जल्दी
off your-
पहुंचना है तो।
Milan ji, please switch off your mic.
आम्ही थोडे सेक्शन अटेंड केलेले त्यांच्याबरोबर, मग त्यांच्याबरोबर ऑब्विसली बघायला मिळालं.
So requesting admin, can you just put everyone on mute?
On the mute, please. So we start. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Vikram ji, Vikram Kothari ji, MD and CEO NSE Clearing Corporation, Huzefa ji, Madam Renu Bhandari ji, and the team of NSE for doing jointly with CPAI today's program for clarification on segregation and reporting of clients' assets and collaterals. At the outset, I again thank NSE Clearing Corporation to accept our request. And we planned this event last week only. And as this topic requires urgent attention of the members, we thought that we should do it in the mid of April only, as it is going to be implemented from the month of May. I hope all our members, we are meeting after a long time, everyone is fine. And thanks for joining this emergent event at our short notice. First of all, the format of the program is, today's event is that there are many questions posed by our members. We'll directly give it to them. There are members from Kotak is there, Grow is there, and Dan is there. They have certain apprehension about implementation of this circular. So I'll directly give it to these members who can take their question directly with the authorities who are here to give it in the form of question and answer session type. Before that, I'll again give it to Varinder ji, our National Executive Member, to brief us about the implementation of this circular, what it requires, and what is the intent of regulator through this regulation, what is expected from members and compliance after implementation of this important circular. I'll not waste much of the time and not take much of the time. Directly give it to Varinder ji to give some brief about this circular. Over to you, Varinder ji.
Yeah, thank you, Vadva ji, and thanks a lot, Vikram ji, for taking up giving us this opportunity for members to interact and take up their questions at short notice. So, as most of us or all of us are already aware, the regulatory intent behind this circular is to ensure that the customer's collateral in terms of securities, which was already earmarked and isolated, now in terms of funds also, it is earmarked and visible to both the TC, the exchanges, and the regulator, that none of the client's funds either can be used for the purpose of another client or for the purpose of prop trading. The idea is a very noble one, that we must ensure that no member misuses any funds of the clients. The securities are already demarcated, and we've had many challenges and many iterations, and Vikramji has been very cooperative, and all along we've coordinated with him, representing many of the issues, and many of those issues have been resolved in the FAQ. And yet when we come down to the implementation level, there are some nagging doubts about how the process will flow. And the idea of this session is to clarify those nagging doubts. Vadvaji, can you, I don't know which member is going to ask in what order. If you can just ask the individual members to come in and ask the questions one by one. And after 2-3 members have taken up, I will consolidate the rest of the questions of the other members in a single flow. Vadvaji?
Just to inform all honorable members, though there are around 100 people on Zoom, but there are 180 people on YouTube also at this moment.
So our member Harsh Parekh has raised his hand. Any question by Harsh Parekh? Harish Parekh?
No, sir. There was just a voice issue, so there was nothing.
Vadvaji, let us ask Motilal Oswal, Kotak and Grow first, and then Mansukhani ji will try to sum it up.
Okay. Anyone from Kotak, Grow, or Mr. Jay, you can take up your question. Mr. Jay from Dhan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Vadva. Yeah, hi, Mr. Kothari. It's a pleasure to have you here. So there are certain clarifications which we need in terms of, the collateral allocation. So is it to be done real time, or, then if it's actually to be done real time, then it becomes very difficult to, preempt like in which segment my client wants to trade. Right. So how will we tackle those scenarios?
Thanks, Jay. And I just wanted to add that Bhagwaji, apart from me, we have Huzefa, who's the Chief Risk Officer for the Clearing Corporation, also on the call, as well as Aniket, who's the Chief of our Policy and Research, as well as Strategy, as well as Renu from the Exchange Compliance side is on the call. So while I can take a shot at this, Jay, but a lot of these questions, maybe I will also refer to Huzefa and Aniket, or maybe Renu to take care of. So yes, the requirement is to do a real-time allocation. At the moment, there is a clarification from SEBI where they have given some leeway, because they also, I think, understand that the members will require time to understand the entire framework out. But the requirement is that allocation to the client has to be done prior to the client trading any segment, Jay. So that's one of the key requirements out of the circular and the way this is required to be implemented.
Okay. No, but for any given practical use, right? So if I am a client and I have certain amount lying in the cash segment, right? And all of a sudden I feel that seeing the market scenario, I want to trade in derivative segment. So I will never disclose it a day in advance to my broker that tomorrow morning I am going to trade in derivative segment. So how would this shifting of funds from one segment to another, it for certain members who are technologically advanced, they can create some kind of infrastructure, but what about in general, it becomes a big challenge.
So, while I think there's a clarity on this also, which has been issued about Huzefa 3-4 weeks back, where
Yeah,
in
in our
case
circular on March 17th.
on March 17th, there's a circular where in case your client trades in another segment, if it is with the same clearing corporation, as long as the UCC TM code and the CM code is the same, okay, in that case, it will be mapped by the clearing corporations to see that the surplus funds are available in that segment. In fact, we've also gone to SEBI and this was in fact post discussions with CPAI to a great extent, where it has also been approved by SEBI that in case it's say in the commodity segment at MCX, the clearing corporations will coordinate amongst themselves to look for those surplus funds. Josefa, you just want to add on that from an operational perspective?
Yeah, so if it is within the same CC, we will give the benefit intraday. So the requirement is that in case there are surplus funds in one segment and client trades in another segment, intraday we will consider as sufficient collateral available. Member has to ensure by end of day it gets allocated to the respective proper segment. Similarly, if the surplus funds are available with other CC, we will not be able to immediately verify. So where we are given a leeway where subsequently we will mark it as short allocation intraday, and members can revert back subsequently saying that the surplus funds are available with so and so CC, and we can go and verify with that subsequently from the other CCs. So that way we have created some reporting mechanism and some amount of exceptions have been provided where intraday allocations, even though short allocations, will be continue to be permitted. So one of them is where the surplus funds are available with other CCs.
Okay, that's I appreciate that. Just one more query on this, whether we'll be getting any kind of UAT environment where we test this kind of flow, or it has to be done hands-on, when it gets.
So it is already there. The testing environment is already live. We have issued a circular. We have asked people to send us requests to enable IDs for that. So in a UAT environment, you can do screen-based allocation, file-based allocation, API-based allocation. So all type of allocations you can check it out in that environment.
Okay, so in the best interest of other members as well, I would appreciate if that link or circular can be shared here, so we can take it.
Jay, that we can give you the date of the circular. In fact, this was one of the big purpose of the call as well, where when we talked to CPI last week and we said that we should get in touch with the members, is because we are required to go live on 2nd May. There's no further extensions on this. 2nd May is the go live date. And the kind of interaction from the members from the testing perspective that we've seen is basically a trickle. So if I can use this call as a platform where I would request the members, we are just 2 weeks away from the go live, and please, and within this week, if you can get your logins created, look at that circular of the testing requirement.
March 11th.
March 11th.
Circular of March 11th, 2022 is there.
And members should start immediately testing their systems within this week itself.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate Mr. Huzefa and Mr. Kothari. Yeah, thank you. That's it from my side.
Marinderji?
Yeah, okay. I take up all the consolidated list of questions. And Jay, just as an update, I mean, it took Vikramji a lot of effort, but this getting the penalties structured into phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, where everything came up into a real time in terms of penalty structure will be, say, 9 months down the road. And Vikramji has been quite insistent in following up with SEBI so that, the implementation is phased and we don't face penalties on day 1 when we migrate. So we need to thank the clearing corporations for the effort which they have put in to at least ensure we don't get penalties on day 1. Okay. So there are some of these questions which are very common and questions, so which we would like to take up at this, even it sounding repetitive, but just so that members have that clarity. So one of the common questions which members have is that if there is a client who has given 1 crore cash and 2 crore as non-cash margin, and the total margin which the customer has is 2.5 crores, then how much of the prop capital will be allocated by the CC by itself from the prop? Will it be 25 lakhs, or that ratio will be any different? So just as an example, Huzefa could perhaps clarify on the fly so that members are comfortable.
So there, sir, we, like you said, we are not allocating any prop collateral till the time if the so till the time cash non-cash of the client level is equal, there is no allocation happening from prop also. In this example also, where the non-cash is more than the cash, the prop cash is only used for the non-cash to become eligible and will not be utilized as such. So it will not be getting allocated. So the member can continue to use the prop cash for their prop trading. It will only support the non-cash of the client to the extent it is excess of the client's cash.
Yeah, we understand that, but here the members' concern is basically that supposing all the allocation has already been done against the prop, and after that this scenario comes where the client has 1 crore cash and 2 crore non-cash, and he trades 2.5 crores worth, then you will be blocking only or expecting only 25 lakhs of cash from the member.
Yeah, so 25 lakhs of prop cash should be available in the system. That is what the expectation is.
Okay.
It is not that it has to be allocated to the client or it will be blocked from the prop cash. 25 lakhs of prop cash should be available in the system is what the expectation is in that segment.
The second common kind of query which we have from members is that in respect of fungibility of stock. So if stock is pledged by the client across segments, then will that fungibility happen across segments by itself, or they will still need to keep on moving the stock?
So like the stocks will have to be moved. So if it is a fungible stock, it will get defaulted to one segment. And then where allocation, where actual position is taken to that segment, it needs to be actually allocated. The only here is that a member will have time till EOD. So in case intraday, when we take a snapshot and we find that there is an excess collateral, including repledged securities available in one segment, and the margin requirement is there in another segment, for intraday, we will not consider this short allocation. But the expectation is at least by end of day, the member should have moved to the stocks from one segment to the other segment respectively. It will not happen automatically.
Okay. So, I mean, that is phase 1 and phase 2, we still have some cushion, but by phase 3, it will be expected that we will move in real time across segments based upon what the customer...
No. Even in phase 3 also intraday, if there is excess is available. If it is not used, definitely it has to be not used. So if there is free non-cash available in one segment and there is margin requirement in another segment, the CC itself will cross-check and not considered as intraday short allocation. But by end of day, the expectation is by end of day you need to move to the stocks. So within the same CC, intraday immediate movement is not expected. The expectation is by end of day the movement should have happened to the respective segment.
Okay. Sabarwalji, Harith R has a few questions which I think we can let him take up. If he's around, and you can enable his unmute his mic and he can ask these questions.
Yeah, Harith is from Grow, so he wants to raise few questions. Harith, are you there?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, so I had a couple of tech questions. For example, I've posted my questions in the chat box as well. I'll walk you through the questions. First one is that if a user ID does not exist in NSE, right? So what will be the error code, and how can we retry it if the UCC?
So basically, you will get an access denied messages where if we have not enabled your user IDs, and you cannot every time you try it, it will give you the same access denied messages until we create the user ID for the APIs. I think I will read from the chat box and save the time. So for the UCC, you can use any dummy data also, or you can use live data. We are not validating anything on the UCC. The only validation is on the amount per se. So whatever amount we have updated as collateral available in the UAT system, which you can verify from the screens which we have given, And from that, we will only validate the amount. So with respect to UCC, you can put anything and there is no validation for UCC as such, because it is up to members to ensure that they put the correct UCC. With respect to rate limit, there is currently not specified any rate limit, but yeah, overall, if there are a large number of messages coming in the system, the response for them may be delayed. So you may not get responses, or you may not be able to inquire your APIs which you have sent till we have processed all the messages which you have got. So otherwise, there is no rate delay as such in the system.
Are you talking about both production as well as UAT?
Yeah. So to start with, it is the same. So you may not get the response. So if you send an API and if you immediately inquire if those responses have not been processed or those messages have not been processed, you may not be getting any inquiry response also for the same.
Okay. And one last question: how many times can we retry it for the particular user? Is there a limit?
So there is no so user, I believe, is for login, right? And not for the request. So user, there is no specific as such users. So we don't have any in the UAT, at least we don't have a disablement policy, but in the live there is a normal policy where if you retry with wrong IDs and password for a couple of times, then your IDs may get locked and then you will have to request for an unlock.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Manish Garga also has some questions related to the test environment. I guess if all those questions, he can take it up if he's around, so that it can be clubbed in one discussion. Manish?
Yeah, hi. Related to test, it is not related to test environment. Actually, I just wanted to know whether we can do the API call for uncleared checks also.
So see, the API, so the amount which can be allocated has to be available with the CC as collateral. So only collateral which is available with the CC can be allocated. So how much amount has to be allocated and what would be the back information with you, that you will have to decide based on your compliance, sir. So depending on how you give the limit to your clients, you can allocate. But the only checks at CC is that much free collateral should be available with the CC to allocate.
So today, Huzefa, we do provide the limit, because in margin reporting also, in MG13 also, the requirement is T+5, the check is cleared, we can...
Yeah. So that if a compliance allows you to allocate, you can allocate. For us at the CC, and the checks will be only that much free collateral at CC should be available before you give the limit. We are not doing any such checks at the time when you're doing such allocations, sir. All those are mostly post checks. So maybe Renu can answer that, whether compliance-wise it is allowed or not.
Yeah. So compliance-wise, as you are aware that when you receive the check, you post it into the ledger, and accordingly you are giving the margin benefit. So as you can do it here. But as far as availability of collateral with the CCs is concerned, whatever is available, you can allocate as confirmed by Huzefa.
Okay. Another question was that there will be a difference in the haircut as per the NCL and the exchange also. So normally the NCL haircut is much higher than the VAR. So in case of such shortfall, whether we can do an API call from the prop and allocate it in the client account. Because the NCL haircut will anyway be higher than the VAR.
So NCL haircut we have changed. So now only in stocks where the VAR is less than 20%, we have the haircut of 20%. Otherwise, it is VAR only, sir. So for all our stocks, the haircuts are VAR or 20%, whichever is higher. So wherever if the VAR is less than 20, then in that case will be 20. Yeah, and the difference there definitely, since you are giving the limit to the client, for the difference amount you can allocate from the prop.
You can allocate from the prop. Okay. Another point was that the post. See, what is there any timing defined for the API call? Till what time we can allocate it?
So to start with, see, we will not be sure as to when the market would be comfortable doing it. But to start with, whatever are our collateral acceptance and release timings, the same timings are there for the respective segment for allocations and unallocations also. Because then accordingly you can place requests for your collateral releases also. But yeah, depending on how things will move, we will be flexible on the timings, and we can definitely relook at it. But to start with, on day one, it will be mostly the collateral additions and release timings, which starts at morning 8 o'clock until evening around 6 o'clock is available. So that's how we will start with, and then it is anywhere we will check it out as to how things work, and then we will relook at them.
So Huzefa, in that case, what will happen is post the API call, no, the balances would get changed, and this will have an impact on the EOD reporting also. Suppose as you have said, suppose it is 6 o'clock for the API call, and the client has given me certain checks of he has transferred funds at 7 o'clock or something like that, and or we have done an entry posted after 6.
No, but anyway, at that point, you will not be putting any, we will not be accepting any fresh collateral also from you now. So anyway, if you are not going to add any collateral at CC, you will not be able to allocate anything.
We will not be able to allocate, then how we will do the EOD reporting, which we are doing at T+1 then? Do we have to report as per the end of the day balances, then as per the API till the time?
No, sir. The reporting will continue as it is, sir. You in the reporting, the only thing is anyway, if you have not given to CC, it will remain as retained with the CM or TM. It will not be shown as passed to CC.
Okay. So the reporting will continue as it is then. And we will show it as retained with TM then in that case. Okay. And Huzefa, last question was that when are we going to get the full dump of the allocation file, exchange file?
So full dump, there is no dump as such, sir. You have to create the first dump, sir, because we don't know any information. You will have to start doing the allocation from day one.
Okay. Fine.
Hofezadi, there are 250 people on YouTube also. So what we are doing is that in chat box, only those people are able to write out of those 100 who are here. In the name of CPAI, we are trying to write those questions which were from the members and who are on the YouTube. So you can go through that chat box and can answer those questions also. On the name of CPI. Questions in the name of CPAI.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So we have Rakesh Arya also from Motilal Oswal. Rakesh, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hello, Huzefa. First question is related to MG01 MG01 MG01_2, CC01, CC012, and collateral detail. So, as per our discussion, you will provide this file from 2nd May onwards. It is not possible to provide early before 2nd May, so we can develop accordingly, because you have given a header of this file for the development.
Yes, sir. So we have already given you the formats. You can put the dummy data and accordingly develop it, because anyway we don't have any, because the new data will get populated only when we have the actual allocations and what will be the margins at a CM proprietary level and what will be the allocations. So anyway, that's why we have given the formats of the file. You can populate your dummy data or data as per your requirement, what will be there, and do it. Because the data we don't have, that's why otherwise we could have populated some data also. But we don't have any actual data, because that will happen only once the allocation starts. Sir.
Okay. My second question is, currently you are providing security_pledge, in which I will get the information that on which script, client-wise, script-wise limit and benefit, on which you are providing a benefit. So basically, this file received near about 8:30 at evening. So in that file, you are taking T-1 closing and T-1 VAR rate. So it is possible that you will provide one file in BOD near about 7:30 to 8 for today's about means how much benefit you will provide on this script, and what is the haircut and what is the closing price.
So as of now, sir, it's not, but we will take this suggestion on board and see what we can do, sir. We'll keep this suggestion in mind.
No, because I want to use this file for the limit purpose and allocation purpose. Because currently, no use no useful for this file, as this file received at near about 8:30. Hello.
Sir, so we don't have any such facility as of now. Like I said, we will look into that suggestion and we'll see what we can do based on that.
Okay, and what is the cutoff of EOD fund allocation and collateral allocation, repledge of stock?
So repledge of stocks, sir, we basically, whatever we have got it till 3:30, we take it and provide it in the EOD reports. For fund allocation, like I said earlier, also we will we'll start with the collateral timings which are there. So currently 8 to 6 is when the allocation can be allowed. But going forward, we are open to that. Depending on how things move forward, we will relook at the timings. Sir.
So because your repledge release timing is near about 6:30 last batch. So
yes, sir.
I want to calculate the fund allocation and stock allocation accordingly my currency derivative position. So I need repledge timing more than this, no?
No, sir. So the stocks timings we are not changing; they will continue as it is. For allocation timings, like I said, we'll start with 6 o'clock, and once we have some ideas on how things work, we will relook at them, sir.
So because say for example, one client is given 1 lakh rupees worth of stock which is repledged to CC, and he has this repledge is done in F&O, and he has created his position in CD. So accordingly, I have to fungible stock from FO to CD after say 6:30 after receive actual margin utilization in CD. Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. So that you can use your fungibility module and you can transfer from one segment to another, the stocks.
No, for this I want timing. What is the last cutoff time?
No, sir. So as of now, the transfer of timings for stocks are predefined and they are on batches and they are not online, sir. So you will have to use the existing timings only, sir. So for, like you said, for stocks it is 6:30, and for cash it is 6 o'clock, sir.
No, for stock repledge release timing is 6:30. But if I want to release from one segment and repledge in another segment, so it is not possible for me to repledge in another segment after 6:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Third question is, can you provide approved file in a structure that it can be upload in back office?
So it is already available on our website in CSV format, sir.
That is the annexure wise format, I think.
Yeah. So we are apart from the circular, we also download it on our website in monthly reports. There are CSV files available for all approved securities, mutual fund, GSEC. You can use them and use it for your back office, sir.
Okay. And what is the cutoff timing for commodity segment fund allocation, as commodities near 6 month 11:30 and 6 month 12 o'clock time?
So commodity will be again whatever timing. So the allocation will be somewhere around after the close of market hour. We'll have some time till which you can allocate, sir.
So currently,
mostly it will be till.
So
if it is 11:30, maybe by 12 o'clock you will be able to allocate, sir.
Okay. So, also, I want to clarification from this allocation request submitted to NSE Clearing. However, allocation request accepted letter. This is a one point which is mentioned in circular 51657, where if I will put this reason, so you will not charge any penalty on the shortfall.
It is for intraday shortfall allocation, sir. So basically, in case there are some delays in or there is a slowness in allocation happening at CC, so assuming that you allocated but you did not get response, and before that the client traded and it got captured in the snapshot, you can specify that reason. Since we will get the request time in our system when you had requested and when we have processed, we will verify based on that, sir.
So any time gap means 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or how will you justify?
No, you have to ensure that the allocation request is submitted to the CC before the actual margins are taken. So we will verify based on that the allocation request was submitted before the snapshot was taken.
Okay. In one of the meeting, you told me that available limit is available on NMAS. Broker have to take directly from NMAS and use that limit for repledge benefit value. So this available limit download time is I think more than 15 minutes to 30 minutes. So it is not useful for me to provide limit on the basis of that NMAS available limit.
Yes, sir.
So
That
any
depends on how much. So as of now, that is the only option available because it's a file-based option, and depending on how much data is there, it takes that much time, sir. So we will again, I will take that suggestion on board and see what we can do, sir.
no, so my basic question is, if one client real time replays your stock to CC, so how can I identify that the client will get the limit on that stock or not? So
So,
for
sir,
this,
anyway, the stock replay currently is a batch process. It takes time from when we get from the depository. Also, it comes in a batches, and we upload it also in batches. So it is never a real time, sir.
okay. Okay. In future, you will provide a pick file for this allocation. So can you explain how we'll provide this pick file? All CC will provide a pick file in single time slot or in different time
No,
slots
it
like
will
currently?
continue as it is currently how the peak margin is happening in the same manner it will happen, sir. The same time slot. So the peak margin snapshot only will be used for computing the shortfall allocation also.
So every CC and in single CC, every segment you will provide in different time slot.
So they are approximately on a similar time slots, not the same, but it is on a similar time slots, and that will continue, sir, as it is continuing currently for the peak margin.
Okay. Also, in same circular 51657, you are given single penalty structure. Can you explain how it will work? Single penalty structure.
So single penalty structure basically is that today what we do is that we charge a penalty for higher of your peak margin shortfall or EOD shortfall. So today we are charging penalty on higher of the two amount. We will include intraday shortfall allocation and end of day shortfall allocation also in that. And higher of that 4 amount will be applicable, will be used for computing the penalty. So there will be a single penalty only. There will be no separate penalty for short allocation. It will be included along with your margin reporting penalty.
Hello.
Yeah. Huzefa,
So
you can take on the question from the chat box, Mr. Huzefa.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll take up.
Virenderji, please. Virenderji, please.
Yeah. So one second. So Shailendra from Comtech, who's a vendor, has a specific question that if request has gone with 1,000 records and it got timed out, then will the same information need to be sent again, or it will be overridden if by chance, because it was not fully retrieved, how will you come to know the exact status?
So for API, anyway, you can inquire the status. Once in the inquiry, you will get the status of your request. If it is still under processing, you will get under processing status. If it is processed, you will get a success or a rejection message. If it is rejected, you can rectify and send it again.
Okay. So one of the other common questions which we got was that for scenarios where the margin increases on a standing position where member has already collected that margin and it increases because of increase in volatility, etc. How will the member be able to solve for or control for that shortage? I know that there is a problem even in the current system, but in the new, because earlier what used to happen is intraday we could square off that position. But now in the peak that it will increase and that will lead to a penalty, and by the end of the day, even if the member squares off that extra position, there will still be a problem of penalty. So is some kind of a reason code likely to be available for that?
So, sir, I think the same, it will not be different because see today also, if the same comes in the peak margin snapshot, you would have short reported the peak margin and the same thing would be there in for short allocation. And that's why, to ensure that there is no dual penalty, one for short allocation and short reporting for the same reason, we have included, or we have, represented and included and requested SEBI and they have approved that it will be part of the similar framework. So the same thing can happen today also, that where we take a peak margin snapshot, the margin has increased because of the increase in volatility and not because of the position. And there could be a short reporting for which even if the position is squared off by end of day, still there can be a short collection of peak margin. So that anyway is not an issue of allocation, but an issue of the margin as such. So that I think will not get addressed in the current this mechanism, sir. And yeah, there is no even if you have any reason code for that, you will be still levy penalty for short reporting your peak margin because you would have not collected that increase in margin.
Yeah, but from a member perspective, that's one of the most difficult things, and for anyone to preempt, how much margin will increase today because of volatility.
I will request Virender Arora ji to take up the other question. Mr. Virender Arora from Master Trust, Ludhiana.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Huzefa, as you told against one of the query recently that there will be no intraday segment-wise penalty. We have to allocate segment-wise balances at the end of the day. But in any case, during the day, prop fund will be blocked. Am I right?
Yes, sir. So the margin will get blocked. So
yeah,
if there is no so if the client does not have the collateral allocated, then it will directly go and block from the proprietary. And the only thing is the beneficial is that is penalty for short allocation will not be levied if there is an excess collateral available in other segment.
Understood.
Otherwise, the blocking will continue from the proprietary.
Yeah, understood. But the main concern here is to avoid that blocking of funds from the prop funds. Can't we have anything like fungibility real-time basis that if client?
No, sir, that is not envisaged in this current framework, because today also the same thing will happen, sir. Today also is also in the present scenario also the same thing is happening, sir. So that will continue, sir.
Oh, and the same will be in case of difference in haircuts and EPI benefits and stocks lying in other cities.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the margin for the collateral fulfillment at CC is paramount, sir. It has to be done, which is happening today also. So today also, whenever you do not do EPI, still the margins are getting blocked from the collateral of the clearing member. That all will continue, sir. There is that monitoring at the CC end is not changing, sir.
Is there any plan in your roadmap in near future to provide this kind of facility on real-time basis?
Not as of now, sir. We can definitely take this suggestion on board, but as of now, not, sir.
And same is with the question remains same with the pledging of shares also, like fungibility of securities. You are providing 2 or 3 times in a day only. Can't you make a system like funds that it should be near to real-time basis?
So, sir, currently everything on in stocks, including right from pledging, release, and transfers, are on a batch process. We'll again take that suggestion on board and see how best we can do it, and how or whether we can at least to start with increase the number of batches which we are doing. Sir.
And my last question is regarding 90% of the usage of funds by the client. If client uses more than 90% of his funds or total collaterals available or allocated, so I am unable to find any this thing relevant example in your tables given in various circulars that how you will treat that deemed allocation, proper proprietary account will be able to use those funds for their own trading or not?
No, sir. So basically, let's assume your client has given 100 rupees. There is a proprietary 100 rupees. The client trades 95 rupees of margin. So 5 rupees. So 5 rupees will get then blocked from the 100 rupees of the proprietary collateral, and the proprietary margin utilization will become 5%. So
not
that is how it will happen.
Not like allocation of funds in case of excess collaterals given by the client, where member is also allowed to take the advantage.
No, that is only for enabling non-cash, sir. But in this case of 90%, anything beyond 90% will actually get blocked from the proprietary collateral.
Isn't it the both are these same nature?
No, sir. No, sir. One is just to support the 50-50 requirement at a member level, while other is to ensure that 10% buffer is available at all levels, sir.
So can you write down this suggestion also?
No, no, sir. This is as per SEBI circular. We cannot take anything on that, sir.
So we have to take it up with SEBI only.
Hey, because this implementation of blocking anything above 90% from the proprietary collateral is part of the SEBI circular, sir.
Okay, fine. Then I request CPAI to note this question for our SEBI submissions. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ajay Garg. Mr. Ajay Garg.
Yeah. Thank you, Sabharwal. So I would just take a first point of Virender ji. Huzefa ji, like you said that so he was just asking for fungibility. So ideally, it is not fungibility. Like if the client allocation primarily has been done in cash market, and now the utilization is there in future market. So broker through API or through file transfer would say shift that margin to F&O. So how much time clearing house would take to give benefit? This is my question.
So that depends, sir. So that way, like we said, depending on how much time the system takes to process, it will happen, sir. But during that time, if we take a margin snapshot intraday and we find there is a shortfall of margin in F&O, but there is excess collateral in CM, we will not consider it as shortfall.
So that is right. That is right.
Only thing is you have to ensure that by end of day, the collateral is moved to the respective segment.
No, that is right. But you see, for the timing, the broker fund would be blocked. So I just want to know, like, would it be blocked for say half an hour or 1 hour? How much time? Like the fund would be blocked, because after the reallocation and the CC gives the benefit, then the broker fund automatically would get released.
Yes,
so
sir.
how
So
much
that
time
depends, sir.
for-
So depending on how many requests is in a queue, that will get processed, sir. So I don't have any exact time frame available as such in my hand, sir.
Any range can you give? Because that is very important, because it would block funds of all the TMs and clearing members. So this number is very, very important.
No, sir. As of now, we don't have any number as such, sir.
Because how much liquidity crunch would be there? Because you are not even providing the file beforehand. Like at least 1 week before, daily we should get some file on the basis of daily allocation file we are uploading. So you can take it as a base and you can start giving us at least a daily file, so that we can build up our system and we should be able to know that how much liquidity crunch is going to be there.
Mr. Huzefa, are you there?
Renu madam, Aniket ji, if anybody else is there, they can take up as Huzefa ji.
No, we don't have any. So like Huzefa mentioned, at this time, we will not be able to give any comment on the timeline expected. We understand that, market expects the time to be very short. But at this time, we are not in, we will not be able to comment on what time it would take.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, we don't have any times as such, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is a question from Girish Bhoj also. Please share the process to be followed from the first file till the end of the day. Do we have something on this?
So there, sir, we have already shared how you can do the allocation. So from first file means it depends on how many times you want to allocate, sir. So there is no specific as a process, but otherwise you can use and test it out in your the test environment. And in case you have any troubles, you can write to us, sir. We'll be more than happy to help that in case of there are any issues.
Okay. Say, related to this only, there is a question from Motilal Oswal. If it is possible to provide provisional penalty file from 2nd May, is it possible to get the provisional penalty file?
It may not be from 2nd May, sir, but we will definitely start sending the short EOD allocation report before the EOD allocation penalty kicks in. We will definitely start sending the EOD short allocation report, sir. So that is kicking in somewhere from end of July, and we will definitely ensure that before some time that kicks in, we will start sending the EOD allocations, short allocation reports.
Okay.
Bhadwaji, if somebody is there from Kotak, or I can read out their question if nobody is there from their side.
No, you can take it on their behalf.
So, Huzefa, the question was more related to the CP codes. In case of CP trades, the requirement to ensure sufficient collateral is allocated to the CP clients to cover the margin requirements shall be done by the confirming custodian. NSE Clearing will make a margin call on the custodian if sufficient CP collateral is not available post confirmation by the custodian. So the question is that in case of DVP trades, if the trades devolved on the broker on T+1 for CP settled clients, should the allocation be made by the TM, or in this case it will be deemed allocation that will be done by the CCs without levying any penalty?
So here it will be basically what happens is generally when the trades devolve today also there is no margin reporting for devolved trades because it is considered that it is devolved on the proprietary of the member who has executed. So same way accordingly whatever trades devolve, the margin for that will directly get blocked from the proprietary collateral of the executing TMCM.
So this will be blocked on T-day close or T+1 day morning only getting blocked.
So on today as it is happening, T+1. So once the confirmation window is over and once we realize, so this I believe is a cash market question because it's talking about a DVP transaction. So today when the cash, whenever the trades margins are getting blocked from the member, the same way the process will not change. So here it will directly get blocked from the CM's proprietary.
Okay. And their second question was, is there any change in the NMAS UI being developed? So would the margin utilization reflect in the current way only, or there are some changes visualized?
So in the margins, there is no change as such. So margins, you will still get your limits and percentages as it is, because only thing is their computation will be different. It will not be total margins upon total collateral like it is there currently. It will be only the margins which is getting used from the proprietary collateral divided by the proprietary collateral. So as such, the screens are not changing. The values may change. Apart from that, for the new allocation, we are giving a lot of screens which we have provided in the test environment, so people can log in into test environment and have a feel of those new screens.
So intraday basically deemed allocation data would be available in those screens.
Yeah, intraday allocation, whatever screen. So it basically the screens includes your available collateral, whatever collaterals you have allocated, how much is the free collateral available for allocation. Those are available in the new screens.
Okay. And the end of day report, their other question was that the EOD allocation would logically happen after the EPI benefit file has been processed. So, but you mentioned the cutoff time is at 6 p.m. I think.
Yeah, because the EPI benefits, we are expecting that people that if because of the EPI, the margin requirement will always go down. So I don't think so there will be a requirement for any additional allocations as such. And anyway, for prior to EPI also, we send provisional margin files around somewhere around early, and people can use that if they want actual EOD margin numbers. So the actual EOD margin numbers before the EPI are also available with the members quite early, and post EPI the margins will only go down. There will be no increase in margin as such, unless until there is something wrong in the allocation of EPI which is there.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the common questions which you can see even in the chat box, for example, from Girish Bhoj are related to the same. Basically, when the client has sold securities, which he is all the collateral with the member, he doesn't have any cash collateral of the client, and he sells. Then, for example, can the member?
If by end of day, if the EPI is done, then there will be no short allocation.
Okay, and the member can also, like at present, allow for the benefit of 80% of that value to allow the client to say buy securities.
So that has to be allocated because that is an actual credit which you are giving. So that has to be allocated to the client. that cannot be considered automatically. It has to be actually allocated to the client.
Okay. So just as Vikramji had said, I think Vijay Kejriwal is asking that the test environment he doesn't have access. So I think we will need to refer him back to.
Yeah. There is a March 11 circular. You can respond on. So we have given a format to create that access. You can send us a request on that ID, and we will create the access.
Okay. Shailendraji from Comtel, I think we have taken up your question, but if you still have some doubt, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question, because we had tried to address it the way we understood it.
Hello.
शैलेंद्र जी बहुत इको आ रही है आपने, या तो कोई स्पीकर भी ऑन किया हुआ है. Can you just ask the question?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, please continue.
Am I audible now? Hello.
Yeah, please continue. Shailendraji, you can speak now.
Yeah. So basically my question was, we have a client who have a client base of around 10 lakhs clients. Okay, and since API request is limited to 1,000 records per request, so that means we need to send around 1,000 records, 1,000 requests every time from BOD, EOD, and in case if something changes, then we need to send an real-time request, right?
No, you need not send everything, sir. Maybe only day one you may have to send everything. Subsequently, it is only the change which you have to send, sir.
Okay, so on day one, when this becomes live, so do we need to specify the action, or we need to like only give the amount? We can skip the action field.
No, you have to specify the action, sir. It is a mandatory field, sir.
Okay, so there will be a file available, right, where we can get the entire the client's records, whatever the record have till date, and then we can give.
Till date there is nothing is there, sir. Till date there is nothing is there. Now on day one everything is zero, sir. There are no clients as such. So on day one you have to start.
So on day one, then action will be D. That is upload.
Upward,
sir.
Right?
Upward, right?
No, upward. So first you have to do an upward allocation on day one, sir.
Right,
so that's why sir, we request you to please test all these scenarios out in your. So the day one setup is available in the test environment. You please check it out in the test environment, sir.
All right. And so, like you said, we need not to upload the 1,000 requests, only of those clients whose collateral has been changed. We have to upload that only on EOD and BOD, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct.
So on day one, you may have to upload everything, but subsequently it is only the changes.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Actually, it is for the information of all members that 280 people joined on YouTube in addition to 100 persons here. Vikram Kothari ji has very kindly consented that as there were many questions on YouTube and many more questions are coming out from the honorable members, we will have another question and answer session on coming Monday, the 25th, in which Mr. Huzefa, Mr. Ankit will also be available in addition to Mr. Vikram Kothari. So all members, we will be sending the intimation, but you should send your question by Friday to us so that we can send to the Clearing Corporation officers and they are ready with all the replies in advance. So our next same question and answer session will be on 25th, the coming Monday from 4 a.m. or from 4 p.m. Vadvaji?
Yeah. So any other question for today, Varindaji? Or there are few questions by Mr. Rathi. See, I'll just pose it this time only. In the amount field, what all details are required to be uploaded? Whether only clear balance, which we upload in segregation report of previous day, or sum of clear balance and repledge value, which is uploaded by NCL segment wise. Huzefa ji.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that, sir? I just missed it.
In the amount field, what all details are required to be uploaded? Whether only clear balance, which are uploaded in segregation report of the previous day, or sum of clear balance and repledge value, which is uploaded by NCCL segment wise.
No, sir. So for securities which are already replaced to CC, you need not do any allocation. Only the cash component has to be allocated, sir.
Okay. Another in the same line, he has asked, is it required to upload negative balance or zero balance segment wise in the upload file?
So zero and negative are not permitted, sir. You need to upload only where you need to allocate, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Garish Bhoj has raised his hand, though he has already previously asked the question, but he can unmute himself and can ask his further question. Mr. Garish.
हेलो
Yeah, please continue.
सर, ये जो स्टॉक अगर किसी क्लाइंट का होल्डिंग है और वो अब क्लाइंट का कैश भी हमारे पास अवेलेबल नहीं होगा और क्लाइंट सिर्फ अपनी होल्डिंग प्योर खुद की पूल की होल्डिंग वो बेच देगा, तो उस केस में तो एलोकेशन पॉसिबल नहीं है। और दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे ही वो सेल करेगा तो क्या एज अ ब्रोकर मैं उनको उस स्टॉक सेल के अगेंस्ट में लिमिट प्रोवाइड कर सकता हूँ एज माय कैश विल बी ब्लॉक माय फ्रॉम द माय प्रॉप अकाउंट?
Sir, I think that is more of a compliance question rather than how to as a procedural question, sir.
क्योंकि ये रियल टाइम मार्केट में कॉमनली ये यूज होता है, क्योंकि ज्यादातर क्लाइंट कैश नहीं स्टॉक पे काम करना चाहते हैं और न्यू क्लाइंट्स तो सिर्फ डिलीवरी बेस्ड काम करते हैं, अपने पास होल्डिंग है वो बेच के वो
Madam, can you share?
Girish, can you just please repeat the question?
मैम, वन ऑफ द क्लाइंट जिसके पास सिर्फ होल्डिंग है, कैश नहीं है, ठीक है, लाइकवाइज इफ ही हैव 1 करोड़ और 2 करोड़ वर्थ ऑफ होल्डिंग और वो आके मार्केट में पैनिक होके माल बेच दिया, ओके, नाउ on that basis, as per the current scenario, 50-50 will be blocked from the proprietor and 150 from the client. But in this case, client doesn't have any cash, so there is a 100% block from the proprietor side, and we can't allocate this amount within a day to the CC or the CM, right?
Correct.
So 100%. 100% तो ब्रोकर का ब्लॉक हो जाएगा, बट जब मैं ये जो स्टॉक बेचेगा उसके अगेंस्ट में क्या मुझे लिमिट प्रोवाइड करनी है? मतलब उसको क्या मैं फर्दर एक्सपोजर दे सकता हूँ? क्योंकि उसने तो मेरे पास 50% वाला कुछ वो क्राइटेरिया के हिसाब से तो कुछ रखा नहीं है।
तो गिरीश जी, 50%
दूसरा
क्राइटेरिया जो है ऐसा मैंडेटरी तो है नहीं, राइट? तो आपके पास जो भी स्टॉक है आज, जैसे आप करंटली करते हो कि अगर किसी का भी ईपीआई आपने अगर किया है, कोई भी स्टॉक बेचा है और उसका अगर क्रेडिट आप पोस्ट करते हो आपके लेजर में, तो उसके बाद आप उसको एक्सपोजर देते हो। तो इन दिस केस ऑल्सो आपने कुछ अगर बेचा है किसी क्लाइंट का और उसका ईपीआई कर दिया है और सक्सेसफुल हो गया और आपने अपने लेजर में पोस्ट किया है, तो आप उसको फर्दर एक्सपोजर तभी दे पाओगे।
मींस इफ एनी क्लाइंट सोल्ड विद इन अ मार्केट, मुझे तो ये नहीं पता ना कि वो सुबह में 9:15 को स्टॉक बेच देगा और शाम को कवर अप कर लेगा।
नहीं, तो वो आपको इंश्योर करना पड़ेगा ना गिरीश जी, बिकॉज आप जो फर्दर एक्सपोजर देते हो दैट इज ओनली अगेंस्ट द सक्सेसफुल ईपीआई।
ओह अच्छा, ठीक है, मतलब मुझे जैसे क्लाइंट ने स्टॉक बेचा,
सब्जेक्ट टू एंट्री इज पोस्टेड इन द लेजर।
ओके, नाउ एपीआई हैज बीन डन, ओके, एपीआई मैंने कर दिया है और उसके एंट्री लेके मैंने आपको एलोकेशन भी कर दिया, ओके। तो जो एपीआई करते हैं उसमें रिपोर्टिंग में मुझे 80% का बेनिफिट मिलता है और यहाँ पे मुझे उसका 50% का ही बेनिफिट मिलेगा, राइट? अब जब मैंने ईपीआई कर दिया है और क्लाइंट का फुल
गिरिजी, हाँ, let us
नहीं
not
नहीं नहीं, मैं वो कंबाइन नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बट आई एम जस्ट कमिंग ऑन दैट कि मैंने यहाँ पे एंट्री मार दी है ईपीआई कर दिया करके, और मैंने यहाँ पे आपको एलोकेशन भी दे दिया है 50% वाला कि हाँ चलो ये मेरा आ गया फंड, ये मैंने आपको दिखा दिया हूँ। ओके, अब उसके अगेंस्ट में भी वो क्लाइंट फिर से कुछ ना कुछ बाय करेगा। एज मैंने तो उसको तो आपको डिफाइन कर दिया ना, क्लाइंट तो बोलेगा मैंने कैश का ये एज अ क्रेडिट आ गया आपके पास। अब एज अ क्रेडिट मैं फर्दर एक्सपोजर भी तो ले सकता हूँ, और सामने सेम स्टॉक भी तो बाय कर सकता हूँ मैं।
बट सीसी के पास अभी वो फंड है ही नहीं ना, आप आया नहीं ना।
तो यही तो मेन है
This is
मैम।
you are only posting against the sale proceed. So how can you actually this? Therefore, I am saying don't mix the two
हमें
issues.
लिमिट नहीं देना है।
See, that
ये
is
तो
again
सिर्फ
your
एंट्री सिर्फ यही आप बता रहे हो मैम कि एंट्री की है सिर्फ आपने, आप उसको फर्दर एक्सपोजर नहीं दे सकते। मतलब मैं किसी एक्सचेंज सेगमेंट में उसको लिमिट नहीं दे सकता।
नहीं गिरीश जी, ये तो आपके ऊपर है ना कि अगर उसने रिलायंस बेचा है तो आप उसको रिलायंस ना खरीदने दें, स्टेट बैंक खरीदने दें अगर आप उसको खरीदने देना चाहते हैं, और रिलायंस का अर्ली पे इन इंश्योर कर लें। अगर आप अपने फ्रंट एंड में कंट्रोल कर लेंगे तो ये परिस्थिति ही नहीं आएगी जो आप बोल रहे हैं। आप फ्रंट एंड सॉफ्टवेयर में कंट्रोल कीजिए ना कि रिलायंस बेच करके रिलायंस ना खरीद सके।
सर मैं 2-3 कोड या 3-4 कोड ठीक है, आई कैन मैनेज फ्रॉम माय फंड, बट when there is 2 to 3 crore worth of the stock is sold it against डेट, अगर वो एफएनओ में काम करना चाहता है, मैं ईपीएन की एंट्री कर देता हूँ, तो उसको मुझे एफएनओ में लिमिट नहीं दे सकता ना मैं, क्योंकि इट्स एन ओनली एंट्री डन, इट्स नॉट प्योर कैश।
गिरीश जी, ये आपका डिसीजन है कि आप देना चाहते हैं नहीं देना चाहते हैं, इसमें सीसी और एक्सचेंज तो कुछ नहीं कर सकता ना। आज भी तो आप ही डिसाइड करते हो, अगर वो बेचता है तो आपको पे आउट तो नहीं मिल जाता है, आप ही डिसाइड करते हो कि क्लाइंट को ट्रेड करने दूं या नहीं करने दूं।
मनसुखानी जी वो कह रहे हैं ना कि 2-3 क्लाइंट है तो मैं मैनेज कर लूंगा, तो मेरा ये सजेशन है कि सर ये तो सीटीसीएल सॉफ्टवेयर में आपको फीचर बनवाना पड़ेगा ना कि जो सेल हो गया वो बाय बैक नहीं होता अगर आप लिमिट दे रहे हैं तो।
ओके जी।
I have a query here that as per the provision we have to upload balances of MTF also, and in the MTF ledger there will be always debit balance because we have funded something. Suppose one client is having 1 lakh credit in the account and he bought shares worth rupees 4 lakh, so 3 lakh would be debit balance. So Mr. Huzefa, should we like add back those funded amount and then upload the balance of the client which he has all initially brought in? Are you there?
Hi, Aniket this side. I think Huzefa is not there, sir. Yeah. Basically, जो भी आपको whatever is permitted as margin collector, मतलब whatever is permitted for margin collection, उसके सामने आप allocate कर सकते हो.
Miss Renu, can you clarify on this?
See, you are saying that he's bought under MTF, right?
Yeah.
He's bought under MTF and he has a debit.
Yeah, so most of the clients would be having debit balances in their accounts, but we have to upload the deposits of MTF also. So should we upload removing our funded amount? His
actually deposit of MTF nahi hai. See, when in case a client is actually using MTF and he is giving you some cash collateral, that cash collateral you have to upload. See, you will not be giving the debit because this margin which client has given you in cash, that will be separate from the debit, because this is a margin and you have to actually continuously maintain this.
Correct.
So therefore, this debit will not be because pain has to be met by you. Correct. And margin has to be maintained all point of time. So this cash margin is available. This cash margin which is available with you can be actually allocated and reported also while you are reporting the client balance.
Okay, I got my answer. And my last query is related to KUSA.
And the same amount, Virender ji, should be there when you are actually uploading the cash and cash equivalent. No, there also you are uploading the cash margin. How much cash margin you are maintaining for the client.
Correct.
So there also it should be available.
Correct.
Done.
So my last query is from CC that stocks lying in KUSA. So if we want to provide the limit against those stocks, then we have to upload that value of money from out of our prop fund against the KUSA stocks lying with us.
Virendra, just I wanted to know under what circumstances we are saying that KUSA stocks, because KUSA stock is for debit balance client, it is not used as a collateral, no? Just I wanted to understand.
Suppose against KUSA stock, client is having debit of say 5 lakh rupees, and he is having 10 lakh more cash collateral for trading in derivatives. So his ledger would be showing not 10 lakh, 5 lakh credit. So if we add up the value of stocks in KUSA lying with us, so at times what happens that if client suppose buys shares on day one, then we have to clear that stock within. Yeah.
Aruraji, rule is very clear. You are saying that you have a credit balance also, and you also have a debit balance against some purchase of securities.
Correct.
So as soon as you get the credit balance, ideally you have now the credit balance against the debit. So you should first actually send the KUSA shares back to client and then mark it as a pledge. Then can be used as a margin, but not the way you are now explaining.
Okay, but in the course of business, we it takes some time, a day or two, because we have to clear that KUSA account within 5 days from the payout.
Actually, it should be done, Aruraji, on a daily basis, because currently also, just to share, even SEBI is analyzing what is lying in KUSA, etc. So it should be clearly vacated.
It is also for debit, not for credit.
Rest Huzefa can add on. This was just from the perspective of compliance, because when you said that KUSA shares, so therefore I wanted to intervene and
thank you, Renu. Anyway, we were going to ask you to comment on this. So basically, it is a compliance question. If anything, whatever is permitted and whatever is permitted under compliance as margin collection, to that extent, operationally, you will have to allocate.
Suppose I have received the payout in shares on Wednesday, shares bought on Monday, I have received the payout on Wednesday, I have to clear it by Thursday. So on Thursday morning, I have to allocate the deposit to client. So how I would do that? Because KUSA shares, I cannot repledge to CC. So to provide the limit to client, I have to allocate that money to client.
No, Arunaji, you don't have what I am saying. See, you were having first the debit balance of 5 lakhs against which 5 lakh securities. Then you got 10 lakhs. As soon as this 10 lakhs is posted in your ledger, then what you need to do, you have to first flush out 5 lakh worth securities to the client account and then pledge.
Correct.
And 5 lakhs is available as cash balance with you.
Kindly consider my example that I have received that funds on Wednesday evening and I have received that payout on Wednesday afternoon, and I have to clear it out on Thursday. So
Raji, this you cannot do allocation of security, because security can be allocated for margin only under pledge repledge.
Okay.
We are not allocating KUSA shares. We are only considering that particular debit.
Okay.
So when we say debit in the client ledger, then you were having already 5 lakhs debit, and then as soon as you got 10 lakhs, your debit decreases to 5 lakhs.
Okay, fine. Let me sit with my team and make some examples. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you so much.
Meeting on coming Monday again. Meanwhile, Mr. Darshan Chhajad has raised his hand. He can unmute himself and ask the question. We will just take 2 more questions.
Yeah. Thank you, guys, for all this thing. My question was with respect to Huzefa had made one statement in this particular call, saying that 0. This is regarding the API again. That 0 is not the approved value. So is this the correct thing? Like, because a client might have a lakh rupees and he might withdraw on the same day, and then we have to report 0 as the actual value, right? So just wanted to check on this. Like, so can anyone help me out in this understanding?
Sejo, can you confirm? Sejo, are you there?
So 0 is the valid value according to me. So just wanted to check on that.
Sejo, are you there? Anyway, we'll come back, but I guess so, but we'll confirm.
Yeah, because in this API document, it is the value 0 is valid value. That is why.
Okay.
In the API. Also, the same statement that Huzefa has made, one more, is that just wanted to reconfirm again that we have to send, we don't have to send the incremental values. We have to send the actual values. What I mean to say is that a client has 10,000 rupees as a balance. Now he had done a pay of 5,000. Okay. Then we have to submit 15,000 values.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
not the incremental 5. It has to be 15.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So that's it. That's it from my end. Yeah. So 0, we will have to consider 0 as the fair value, right?
The last question, we just find Mr. Arnav Karveer has raised his hand. He can unmute himself and ask the question. Mr. Arnav.
I think he is not there. So another question from Shailendra. Can we get current balance of client available with CC? It is needed to cross-check the reporting of collateral throughout the day.
No, current balance we don't have. No, only after you start reporting, you will get it, right? Only when the members start reporting. Today, we don't know the breakup of the collateral that is with us. We don't have the client-wise breakup of the present collateral. Only when we start this segregation, then only we will have the breakup.
No, once we start, can we get the balance of client with the CC?
No, once we start in on the portal, you will the allocation values will be available on NMAS. No, whatever is allocated, that value will be available on NMAS, and members can download from there.
तो वो API के थ्रू उसका कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकता है?
So there are many questions. I think as we have fixed next Monday also for our.
As of now, तो ऐसा provision नहीं है. In the current API, we don't have any inquiry of the current balance. We only have the request inquiry. But as of now, we don't have it in API.
Okay, thank you.
So as Sabarwalji has just mentioned that we are going to have another Q&A session next Monday. So we'll take a balance of your question next week. In the meanwhile, I'll request you to please draft your question and send it to us. We will compile it and pose it to the CC and compliance team of NSE on next Monday. Varinderji, for your vote of thanks to the team.
Yes, I'd like to thank NSE team and Vikramji. I think he's not there on the call now, but Huzefa ji and Aniket ji and Renu ma'am, and last but not the least, all of our members who made this a very participative session. And we'll definitely connect again next Monday so that whatever are the balance questions and whatever are the issues encounter in the test environment when they try to upload as requested by Kothari ji, we'll be able to address all those questions and try to solve for most of the problems. Thanks a lot once again to all the members for joining in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Huzefa ji.
By tomorrow, we will send the link for the coming Monday event.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.